Is it time? I can't wait to see it.
Voice of the people, stories that matter.
Oh wow!
Truth in every moment, now and forever. Across every border, across every land, we form, we empower, together we stand. From Africa to the world, connecting every voice.
It's a beautiful day here in the city of Port Harcourt, and if you just join us, you are on CEMTV. My name is Bariswa Christian Winger, and it's time for news surgery, where we delve, into the clinic with our surgical glove and do what we know how to do best, bringing the world and Nigeria to your doorstep with everything that is happening around the world. But first, let's go over the newspaper headline, and after that, I will introduce this fine gentleman in the studio with me. I stay here, don't go nowhere. And first, on the Punch newspaper this morning, 5-month crude export fetch Nigeria 20 trillion naira. You can get this on the Punch, 29 page on the Punch newspaper, and 1.34 million Nigerians denied UK visas in 21 years. Oh, that. And also Operation Konsanya police hunt kidnappers in Lagos Ogun Forest. And the screaming headline says Obi Kwankwaso led NDC's battle against deregistration. Let's move over to Vanguard this morning. U.S. disclosure on 199 killed jihadis refers to May. And also still on Vanguard this morning, terrorists invade Borno school, kidnap student, writing NECO, and kill teacher. This is so sad, but this is a Nigeria we find ourselves in. God help us. The screaming headline is saying federal government orders marketers to reduce fuel price. Will this work or just words? EFCC reforms NYSC to be headed by civilian. Okay, fact, I beg your pardon. All right, let's move over to the next paper this morning, coming from The Guardian. It said, roar in APC as Atiku, obedient alleged sabotage of opposition. All right, the last one before I introduce my beautiful man. I called him out, man. NAFDAQ says it's 42 million naira expired baby wipes illegally revealed. And that will be all for the newspaper headline this morning. It's time for me to introduce you to this handsome looking, dashing gentleman in the studio. I think I should make a peek, but that's going to be after the show too. By my left, I have this caramel. Should I call him caramel or dripping? Creamy. Mr. Francis, good morning to you, Francis.
Somebody who doesn't know you will probably think something else. But
yeah,
I take the compliment with my full chest.
You're the cream de la cream now.
I chest it out and I
is not
embrace
cheap.
it.
I know.
Good morning, Barry. So how are you
Good morning.
today?
I'm fine, thank you, Francis. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, and it's always a good day for you to join us on CEMTV News Surgery. Of course, we will always have your back and making sure that you have just the right dose of information to help you kickstart your day. So many thanks for joining us, and let's get it right started.
Beautiful. All right. Next on the list, I have this handsome Chocomilo in court. Francis calling me Mr. Daz, but I call him the Black Diamond. Good morning, Mr.
Okay.
I'm blushing.
Oh, please don't.
Man, all these accolades for me.
I know.
Why are we all pinky today?
Yeah.
A little touch of pink,
wow.
a little touch of pink, a little touch of pink. It means
It's-
that our spirits are working together.
You actually celebrated
It
it
was
because
I
it's
would
the
have
last
said,
day of my
I would have
birthday.
said something that if we are truly
Okay.
united, we'll
right.
always meet again. So there's always a point of convergence.
I love that.
A very beautiful morning. I'd like to drop a teaser
Go
because
ahead.
it troubled my mind. The what is this community again? It's not Tumbia, but the community where the gas bubbling is coming out from the ground.
Okay.
I had it on the news this morning again,
Alright.
and it breaks my heart because simply, if that community say they want to secede from Nigeria, before you know it, the DSS, or even they want to protest massively, the DSS, the military armed forces, the police commissioner, everybody will come up with press reports. We have privileged information that criminals want to hijack it.
Exactly.
The commander-in-chief will immediately send armed forces. But these people have been crying, lamenting. I know when I was in my former station, we took their story. I've come here again. They are still lamenting. Gas, but Nigeria is blessed with over 2 trillion cubic feet of gas. Nigerians are buying gas expensively. Nigeria is one of the countries in the world that pollutes the environment by flaring gas at this day and age, when there's technology to divert those gases for domestic use. The question is, what is wrong? The gap is simple between leadership and followership. Somebody is in charge. These are poor, with due respect, they are poor inhabitants in that ecosystem, managing their natural habitat. Now, the blessing of God is becoming a curse. They have been crying, authorities, come and do something. Either you will locate them, the way they did in Bonny, Finima rather, they located them and built LNG. This is God's blessing. Go there. There was one other one they took on Arise News, a community where petrol has been burning from the sea for over 2 years. Money being wasted. Go and steal $1 million. You will see they'll come after you, and yet the government will wait. Flare. I can't place it. People are dying of poverty. If you sell that money and share it, come and share it by per capita income to everyone, they will not agree. What is wrong with this country?
They will agree to 1 derica of rice for election.
And akara.
And corn.
And kuli kuli.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, Nigerians will still take it and vote.
Oh yeah.
Some Nigerians, not all. Some Nigerians.
Even being Obi was talking somewhere, I think in Gambia. Was talking about being business minded. That's what we need in this country. That's money. That's what the white man saw, and they came into Africa. They came in when it was called a dark continent, and they saw opportunities and they refused to go. If not, we chased them out. If they were to be here now, they will explore. Look at Brunei, small country blessed with oil. All they do, they import. They don't have factories, they import, but they live large from oil. We are blessed, and yet, and that's environmental pollution. So the government, the federal government of this country that owns all lands, you are contributing to environmental pollution, which is the contamination of environment by deadly, harmful substances to ecosystems.
All right, thank you very much, Ms. M.I. Thank you very much. And we'll have our guest in the
I
studio.
think the committee is Bile.
Yes, Bile.
Yeah,
Yes,
Bile community. Bile community
Okay.
in River State.
All right, we'll have our guest in the studio. His name is Menoja Nathaniel Oko Ike. I hope I got this correct. Please help me. PhD. Okay, economic with specialty.
What language is that?
That is the Soko language.
Oh, with specialty in development economics. And this morning we will be talking about the government macroeconomic claims versus the macroeconomic experience of the citizenry. Good morning to you, sir. How are you?
Good morning, I'm very fine. Thank you very much.
Of
for
course, you look
having
fine.
me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, and it's time for us to roll over to a picture on social media that's making around this morning. Yes, this is sad or heartbreaking. I think it's just there, but you see it for yourself. They have to roll it in where they say, breaking news, Catholic Diocese of Enugu reject use of church facility for the grand endorsement of President Tinubu and Governor Peter Mba ahead of the 2027 election. Now, this got me laughing when I saw okay, this is our reality now. This is what is happening in Nigeria. Now, some churches, this one has decided to come all out saying, I'm not going to give my church for this purpose. I like to take a read for this. He says, for the love of money, imagine endorsing Tinubu despite the fact that some suffering Nigerians reject him, and the fact that the church should be apolitical. Catholic Diocese of Enugu has distanced himself from a proposed political endorsement rally in support of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and Enugu State Governor Peter Ndubisi Mba, rejecting the use of its facility for the event. Now, a disclaimer issued by the diocese, the church clarified that a media announcement circulating about a historic endorsement rally and adoption ceremony scheduled for Friday, July 3rd, 2026 at the Jubilee Hall, Holy Ghost Cathedral, Enugu, does not have its approval. According to the diocese, Jubilee Hall and all other ecclesiastical facilities under its jurisdiction are not available for partisan political rallies, endorsement, or similar political activities. Francis, what will you say about this?
Well, I'm a Catholic,
Anna.
trained by the Catholic Seminary, very grounded in the Catholic doctrines and the canon laws and everything that has to do with the teachings of the church.
Okay.
And if there is anything that we Catholics or the government of the Catholic Church is known for, is that we speak the truth to power. That's why I was very disappointed when the likes of Bishop Matthew Kuka, derailed and left the right path by failing to tell the truth to Bola Ahmed Tinubu for whatever reason. And that's why I'm disappointed about the likes of Governor Hassan Dalia in Benue State, who has failed also to live up to the mantle of the priesthood that he was called into, even though as it stands, his priesthood is, in quotes, very questionable at the moment. But the church has always spoken truth to power. And that truth is what we owe to not just Nigerians, but the generality of everyone living in the larger society. The media speculation has been on. Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Peter Mba coming together to say, oh, look, the Catholic Church is endorsing us for 2027. It's the political antics that we've seen happening across board. And but for the church's authorities speaking up, it would seem that the Catholic Church is actually in support. And there have been instances like this, not just in Enugu State. I remember prior to the 2023 general elections, there were instances where political governorship aspirants in my state wanted to go to church. And there were instances, for instance, in the Catholic Church in the diocese, we have what we call the New Year fasting and prayers. So whether you're a politician or you're a governorship aspirant, within that time frame, if you come to worship, the church has a tradition of acknowledging people within the government.
Okay.
But there are clear-cut guidelines. Once the microphone is handed to you, it is not for you to tell the body of Christ that you're campaigning for the next election. The moment you start, the sound system will go off on you. The bishop will make it crystal clear as the microphone is being handed over to you that if you step out of line, which is to speak to the body of Christ or address certain concerns that is of public interest and would improve the welfare of the people, the microphone will be off. So you either decide whether to speak in line with what the church has given you or to step out and be embarrassed, because media people are going to be there, not just the press corps of the government or the press corps that you came with. I love the fact that Enugu State, Enugu Diocese, the Catholic Diocese in Enugu has spoken up, and in time prior to the event date actually coming. It's a sad narrative, but we're going to see a lot more of this as we progress towards the 2027 general elections. Don't forget, just a few days ago, former minister, former governor of Rivers State, Rotimi Amechi, was cited with, Deeper Life Bible Church. And the speculation started, oh, there is an endorsement. And by the way, Deeper Life has not reacted to that video or to that post so far. So a lot of people might think, oh, there is an endorsement. And the church leadership has given that endorsement. Oh, we are standing with Rotimi Amechi and Elijah Tiko Abubakar. Perhaps this was just another visit to the church. But in politics, the politicians will never miss, the opportunity to use any press to champion their agenda.
That. Okay. All right, over to you, Mike. What's your take on that?
Yes, taking off from what he said, religion is one of the factors you can take away from politics. The others are tradition and so on. So basically, it's a catchment, it's a target to people. So any opportunity where people are gathered to where whoever is selling, they are selling. It's like a marketer, a salesperson. So once you see people, you want to pitch your product. So they take advantage of the churches. And in Nigeria, we are very sentimental, emotional, and attached to religion.
I hear.
Where we should be thinking everything is God. So they know that. So they take advantage of our sentiments and emotions and attachment to religion to always sell themselves. And I would like to also agree with what he said. Maybe I bet his appearance at Deeper Life may just be one visit. Maybe he's now a new member of Deeper Life. Nobody knows.
Close
Who
to
knows?
2027 election.
You
It's
understand?
okay.
No, not just for anything. People can change. Yeah, I've seen people.
the church.
Yes, people can just sit down. I've even heard him say at a certain point in his experience trajectory, there were times he felt attached to God. There were times he even said he was disappointed and he stopped. Like he said, like,
church.
God, you stay on your, let me stay on my own. Which he said, yes, there was an era in his trajectory that he felt like, I mean, God, I did this. If you couldn't help, come through for me. But he said at a later point he repented and said, yes, after all, I'm a mere human being. Who am I? And he went back to God. So these are, you never can tell. He may have also been invited. He's still an influential figure. Maybe at one point in time, the general overseer of Deeper Life may have also shown him some favor, be nice to him, and he feels that if they are doing something, let me associate with them.
All right,
you
it's
know,
okay.
not necessarily for.
Thank you very much.
Politics.
I'd like to hear from our guest, Mr. Menoja. I hope I get that correct. All right, so talk to me. What's your take? Do you think it's a step in the right direction for the Diocese of Enugu to say, no, we're not standing for this?
Thank you very much. In addition to what the other speakers have mentioned so far, religion is actually a very critical strategy that politicians can actually pinch on, right? Because we are very, very religious minded here in Nigeria. So it has a long way to influence the decision of people when it comes to electioneering and politics. But apart from that, where I want to actually come from is the fact that, yes, the church or religion generally, or religious bodies generally, have to actually play a very important role as far politics is concerned, or political participation is concerned. The religious body are not actually supposed to remain docile, right? So they are not supposed to remain docile. They have to be active, and that is exactly what I think the bishop is is actually doing by trying to let the people know that, okay, this is the direction that we are supposed to go. This is not the direction we are going. For instance, if the APC has come up with that strategy of using the church facility, or and if the bishop eventually allows that, it therefore means that the bishop is partially right, accepting or supporting that particular mandate. So it will now influence people to go in that direction as well.
And your mandates will stand.
Yes. So go in that direction as well. So the bishop coming right away to reject or refuse or decline that program to be held within the church facility also indicates that the bishop is not standing on that mandate of the APC. So the point is that the moral of what I'm saying right now is just that the religious activities, religious bodies have to be very active, have to ensure that they talk to their members, give necessary awareness, sensitization programs for which not to have a political apathy at the end of the day.
Okay, sorry, let me quickly add.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, while it's very important, people will speak, it's very important for church leaders to give their followers direction as to the valuable principles of choosing right leadership that will lead the people aright. Church leaders are very influential persons.
All right.
But church leaders who are wise and sensitive stay neutral, because in their church folk there are different political party interest affiliation who are members. So if you favor AAA, the CCC person will say, okay, this pastor, you're taking sides, you're partial. I may withhold that car I wanted to buy for you. I may withhold that building fund.
Right,
I was the 1 billion I
so they
promised.
have to
I
give
withhold
in.
it. Especially where men think that they are helping God, as small as men are with a small mind. They think that, oh, I'm helping the church. So because of this thing that you did, you're supporting AAA. Come and take my money. Let me see.
Thank you very much. We'll have a lot packed up today for you, as talking about the flooding in Lagos State. For those that are in Lagos, I sympathize with you, and also you need to know it's very important that the South Africans have taken up to the streets saying foreigners must leave our countries, kidnapping left, right, center. But today, let's take our center focus on our guest, Minister Munoja. Help me.
Menoja.
I have to bribe you.
Menoja.
Menoja. Yeah, that
Menoja.
name. Okay, so we were looking at the government macroeconomic claims and the macroeconomic experience citizenry. Now, the government says the economy is improving, yet millions of Nigerians say life has never been harder. Is there a disconnect between economic and statistics? Where are we not getting it right?
Okay.
We see the money, yes, but it's not adding up. We don't feel it.
Yeah. Let me start by saying that, or introducing this conversation based on the various reforms that the current government has shunned out.
Okay.
The dominant reforms that the government have put to bear are the number one is the fuel subsidy removal. That is the number one government policy reform.
Okay.
Then number two is unification of the foreign exchange.
Okay.
Then number three now is the tax reform. So these are the three basic macroeconomic policies or reforms that this current government has put in place. And ideally, looking at those reforms, they are brilliant reforms, right? But just as you said, the reality we are facing is different. It's not yielding results, positive results as expected.
Okay.
So now, looking at let's look at each of these one after the other. Take for instance the removal of the fuel subsidy. Myself as an individual, before now and even till tomorrow, I am an advocate for the removal of fuel subsidy because of its benefits. What that means is that if tomorrow comes and I'm to give economic advice to Nigerian government, I will still support removal of what fuel subsidy. But the way it is being carried out, that is exactly what we are questioning in this scenario. And what does that mean? The fuel subsidy typically is just trying to let us understand that, okay, government is paying a particular amount of money for the cost of fuel. So if, for instance, the cost of fuel, assuming the cost of fuel per liter ought to be 1,000 naira, and government decides to pay 500 naira, then the consumer will pay 500 naira. That is to say, government is subsidizing fuel at the rate of 500 naira for the consumer. But right now, the government has said no. For the fact that Nigeria has been facing a lot of deficit financing, there are a lot of corruption, some certain individuals, it's not even the poor that is benefiting from this fuel subsidy. Let us remove it. And the idea is actually to increase revenue for government. That is the idea of fuel subsidy removal, to increase revenue for government. And that has a lot that it could have actually added to the economy. It could have stimulated the economy, it could have grown the economy, it would have brought about growth generally in the economy. That is the expectation, right? But then the impact, when we talk about the short run or short term impact, has been difficult for Nigerians. This has brought about a high cost of living.
Okay.
Right? It has brought about high cost of living. There is inflation, in this short period of time, about 3 years, 2.5 to 3 years now. So that is worrisome. And why is it like that? Why is it like that? That is because it is like that because of the fact that these revenues that are supposed to have been reinvested into critical sectors of the economy to stimulate the economy, critical sectors such as let's say the electricity sector.
Okay.
Because if these monies that are being saved, the money being saved from fuel subsidy is being reinvested into critical sectors such as the electricity sector or the energy sector, that would help to boost the economy, right? For instance, where there is electricity, SMEs tends to boom. Small and medium enterprises are expected to grow, right? When we talk about small and medium enterprise in this case, typically we are talking about maybe typical examples, maybe barber's shops,
All right.
right? Laundry,
Small businesses?
yes.
Okay.
So in the absence of electricity, that is going to increase their cost of production. And because they are going to now begin to buy fuel for themselves in order for them to fuel their generators, and that would add to run their businesses. That would add to the cost of running businesses, and that is what we refer to as a increase in cost of production, and that would again be transferred. The burden of that increased cost in production will be that burden would again be transferred to the final consumer, thereby bringing about all these issues of high cost of living, inflation, and thereabout. So in essence, the point is that the policy theoretically is the reform theoretically is a brilliant reform.
But
it's a brilliant reform because it will help to boost revenue for government. But when these revenues are being generated, the allocation of these revenues is what is not done efficiently, because the revenues are supposed to be reallocated efficiently in order to bring about macroeconomic balances. And the example is actually what I've given. Maybe reinvesting it in the electricity sector, so that there will be electricity. Because when there is electricity, economic activities would begin to to flourish and all that. So these are the disconnects as far the reform is concerned, talking about the fuel subsidy removal. So the fuel subsidy removal on its own is not a bad policy, but the way it is being implemented in Nigeria, as far as this government is concerned, that is what the issue is all about.
Okay, I have a question.
go ahead.
I'm also of the opinion, like you have, that subsidy was, in the first place, ab initio was not absolutely necessary for petroleum products. I understand that subsidy is part of practices, international best practice, where government cushion the cost, whether by direct cash or by tax rebate or zero tax or paying for production or suppliers, so that the people bear less costs summarily. But for petroleum, we had 4 refineries. We still have thousands and thousands of petroleum beneath ground yet to be explored and exploited. We have over 200 trillion cubic feet of gas still there. in some other countries, they move they grow, they improve in their petroleum refining. But ours, despite the turnaround maintenance, billions still spent, and the government has not explained to Nigerians adequately or justifiably, because they can say we spent this amount for XYZ, but we cannot see it tangibly. Our refineries went down, and so they resorted to sending petroleum products to a foreign land where they take away all the petrochemical benefits. Everything in this studio, majority of the things there are from petrochemical. And that is what Nigeria has been losing. They've not accounted to us. They will send it abroad, take away those, and then send us maybe like 3 products: jet fuel, kerosene, petrol, and possibly importing gas. And then there became the subsidy to take away our crude to another country, refine, and then bring it back to Nigeria. So my question is, while that is, it was good to take away that regime, is it true that Mr. President, an accountant, doesn't know that when you implement such a policy on a product that is like the life oxygen of everybody, it will have shock impact that may be even negative? Therefore, have a strategic, immediate, short-term, medium-term, long-term cushioning strategy to cushion the effect. Or it was just for political bravado, political razzmatazz. I want to show up. I told them I want my campaign, I will take away subsidy after Peter Obi said it, former vice president said it. So, I mean, we just take away subsidy.
Okay. Yeah. So, as a matter of fact, any kind of reform of this sort would always bring about shock for the, in the short run.
Yeah.
Okay.
That one is standard. Reforms of this nature would always result in this form of difficulty, whether you like it or not. And it's expected that within the time frame of 2 years, there will be we'll begin to see improvement. We'll begin to see begin to see positive results within the time frame of 2 years, 2.5 years. That is the expectation. But as we speak right now, we're already getting to the 3rd year of these reforms, and we are yet to begin to reap the positive aspect or positive result of these reforms. So talking about answering your question directly, it's actually expected that these shocks will come, but the shocks cannot stay in the long run. We are not supposed to begin to experience these shocks or these difficulties for a long period of time. Based on the knowledge of economics, we have the short run, the medium term, as well as the long term or the long run, as the case may be. So all these trends are being modeled in such a way that you'll be able to know that if you run your model, because these policies are not supposed it's not just for the sake of politics. Before you come up with reforms of this nature, they are supposed to have run models to be able to ascertain that, okay, these are the shocks that we are going to experience, and these shocks are going to overlap solutions to this, to this
with
particular time period and all that. So there are timelines for all this. That is how it works.
Okay.
So that is the challenge that I think this particular government or the president, perhaps, should I say, they do not have an economic team, maybe to have looked into these challenges. Because if they had come up with sound economic team to have modeled the scenarios that are going to be part of these reforms, they must have been able to bring together strategies to mitigate these difficulties that we are facing today. Just as I've mentioned before, the difficulty you are facing today is not supposed to overlap up to this time.
This moment.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not supposed to overlap up to this time.
third year.
Then again, I think Mr. Emma, you mentioned the point that first subsidy removal ab initio was not necessary.
Absolutely necessary. No.
Okay.
No, the adoption of fuel subsidy, the adoption, because that's why I gave a background of what happened to our industry.
Yes.
We had from 1 to 4 petroleum industry. By developmental, you are a developmental specialist, by developmental projection, we should have more. By now we should have maybe like 5 or we should have like 10.
Yes.
Functioning one, because we are by our population and with our rate, we are about the top 10 in the world. So compared to Iran, Iraq, and the other major players, what they do, we should have modern refineries today. Look at what Dangote is doing. One man having one of the biggest single train refinery in the world, not just among people, but among nations. So shouldn't Nigeria have been doing more? Nigeria has more in terms of resources than Dangote, and yet one man is doing more. So that my projection is that by right our refineries should have improved, but they ran it aground. Therefore, their option was let's subsidize the importation of fuel. That's where oil subsidy came about. So they pay you to take our petrol, our crude oil to another country to refine, pay you to bring it back to Nigeria,
and
then they bear the cost. They call it subsidy, and that's where the crime came in. The alleged fraud came. It has been reported on the media.
All right, Francis,
That is
there is a
correct.
question.
Thank you.
So my concern, Manoja, you've highlighted, the goodness in the removal of the fuel subsidy, which, by the way, Atiku Abubakar, Peter Obi, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu all agreed that it needed to go, and some of us Nigerians also agreed. Now, when the campaign was going on, Atiku Abubakar, particularly Peter Obi, said, although he wanted subsidy to go, but there are clear-cut steps he was going to take before making the declaration and implementing the executive order. Unfortunately, we saw a Bola Ahmed Tinubu who came on board, and before even taking his speech on May 29th, he declared that subsidy was gone. And immediately, we saw the dramatic change. Within hours, the price of fuel changed across Nigeria. And that was regardless of the fact that people had their dumps filled before that day. Until this moment, Nigerians still know that there is a whole lot of fraud happening within the subsidy, regime and administration. Now, my concern is, Emiloko is my turn, came on board with the concept of, and his promoter said he fixed Lagos. And now we know in Nigeria, Lagos is one of the most thriving economy. It's one of the places where everything seems to be working, or everything is working. So the mindset of Nigerians was, oh, if he could fix Lagos, then he can fix Nigeria. And then he went further to ask for specific things and make specific promises to Nigerians, from electricity, which we've highlighted this morning, which is, by the way, a critical aspect in the chain of production. Because the hospitality industry, the broadcast industry, production industry, manufacturing, every single sector in the Nigerian economy needs standard, consistent, affordable electricity. Unfortunately, we've not seen that done. Instead, Nigerians have been given electricity based on bands. Something that is not happening even across countries that we are the ones supplying electricity to. But that is what we have been, excused to be. Now, in all of this, looking at 2023 to 2026, 3 years have passed. Would you say this administration have not had enough time to put its house in order and change the trajectory in terms of the aftermath effect of the removal of fuel subsidy? Bearing in mind that the Tinubu administration has the longest list of appointments or appointees, from ministers to ambassadors to media aides. This administration has the longest list so far in the history of Nigerian politics.
Yeah, talking about the time frame to have been able to realize the political manifestos of this government, maybe to bring about provision of electricity and bring about improvement of social welfare of individuals or citizens of the country. The time period is enough to have done that. We are talking about 3 years. At least we would have been able to begin to see some form of, as a sincere and performing government, because what the government is expected of is actually to improve the social welfare, the living standard, the social welfare of individuals. So we ought to have begin to be seeing all those. But it's unfortunate that that is not the reality as we speak today. The average Nigerian is facing a lot of difficulty in order to be able to sustain life, because cost of living is very, very high as we speak today. There are certain things that the government perhaps must have looked at or put into consideration in order to alleviate this level of suffering. Again, that will also take us to the point that these revenues that are so generated from this fuel subsidy removal must have gone a long way to alleviate some of these pains
from Nigerians.
That Nigerians are facing today. We as economists, we normally advocate or support what we call transfer payments. Transfer payments are sort of social security tools that the government can provide for vulnerable citizens. Vulnerable citizens, talking about people who are poor, so that the pains they are facing, difficulty they are facing, that will be to an extent mitigated. That will be able to mitigate the pains that the people, the vulnerable Nigerians, the poor Nigerians are experiencing. So what the government ought to have looked into, instead of just getting this huge money from the revenues from this removal of fuel subsidy, government would have looked at how they could factor into the equation how transfer payments could be made to vulnerable Nigerians, poor Nigerians. We are not talking about Nigerians who are wealthy, but Nigerians who are poor, who cannot actually afford education. Take for instance, who cannot afford food, who cannot afford accommodation, because these are basic needs of man. And a lot of persons, by the time they're able to afford shelter, they're able to afford food, afford clothing, and then education, you see that life they will not anymore be subjected to that form of multi-dimensional poverty.
Okay. So following in that, before my colleague comes in, we've seen a lot of social investment schemes under the Tinubu administration. We talked about the 15,000, the 10,000, the 25,000 conditional cash transfer. We talked about the trader money and all of these things. My question is this. Looking at all of the social investment that the Tinubu administration have done so far, would you say they have been sincere in their attempt to, bring some level of relief or some level of succor to Nigerians? And I ask, bearing in mind that as at yesterday even, the NEL fund that was meant to give some level of relief to Nigerian students who are from poor background is under contention. The federal government is accusing institutions, which are government-owned institutions, of withholding the money meant for the students under the NEL fund program. On the social investment, the conditional cash transfer, since the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs became a disaster after they embattled Dr. Betaidu's saga and then the next person that came in, we've not heard as Nigerians anything about social investment and the conditional cash transfer. And prior to that moment, different state governors kept saying, we cannot justify, we cannot see the social register that the government of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is using for the conditional cash transfer to Nigerians. We in the media were asking, if you say you're giving River State, for instance, that we have 1,000 poor families that the government is giving 25,000 naira monthly, can we see and verify for ourselves? At least in our community, we should be able to say, okay, not to go and shame those people, but we should be able to know, see the name. At least we know the names of the people around us. And know that we can point a finger to say, okay, in this 1,000, we know from our community 2 people who have benefited. That should justify for Nigerians. But we have not seen that. So, what is your assessment of the social investment scheme so far under this administration? Has the government been sincere in the implementation process?
Okay, for me, I've only read it in the faces of newspapers. I've also read it on social medias. I've read it. I've seen it on television and all that. I cannot, as I speak to you today, I do not have anybody who I can make reference to that has actually received it. That I know this person that have received this social security scheme support. I do not know anyone. I have not come across anybody who has, who I can categorically reference that such a person has received it. And that has to do with integrity and sincerity of government, right? Because sometimes the people that are handling these activities, although the president is at the helm of affairs, but there are agencies, there are individuals, who have been saddled with this responsibility of coordinating, managing the whole of the process regarding this social security scheme. So sometimes these monies are actually being dispensed to those agencies, but the issue of corruption comes in again.
Where the common man can't even benefit.
Yes, so the people that these monies are being meant for end up not assessing or receiving the monies that the monies are being supposed to, they are supposed to, people who are supposed to benefit from these schemes. So that is
okay. As an economist, would you say this policy has benefited ordinary Nigerians? Would you say that the government, this policy that they've given out so far, which you were actually explaining, would you say it has benefited the life of ordinary Nigerians when kidnapping, banditry, poverty is the reality or norm that they want us to get used to?
Yeah, if you go by what is obvious, like the reality we are facing today, everybody is shouting, everybody is calling out the government, myself inclusive, because we do comparative analysis, like comparing periods with other periods. So if you look at the living, the quality of life, or you look at the standard of living of Nigerians before the commencement or before the advent of this government, the quality of life, the standard of living was much more better. Talking about, because when we talk about quality of life, we are looking, when we talk about quality of life, we'll be looking at what the ordinary household can afford. So you will see that the purchasing power of individuals, of household has nosedived, has fallen deeply, and that will affect how you'll be able to assess or evaluate if this government is actually performing well or not performing well. If the individuals are satisfied, because what the government have to look at actually the welfare, the utility of households, and not just how the policy or the reform itself is beautiful when it's on paper, or the theoretical explanations of it. No, But has that been able to improve the welfare of household members? Have that been able to bring about efficiency when it comes to the manufacturing sector, when it comes to the service sector, or even when it comes to the agricultural sector, or any other sector of the economy? Has that brought about efficiency? Have that brought about improvement of social welfare for the people? For me, I would say is on the negative.
Okay.
Yes, it's actually on the negative. So it's worrisome.
All right, I think we will be getting a video for a call for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to resign because of banditry and other crimes going on in Nigeria. Let's go watch that video, and when we come back, we continue.
Hello, Nigerians. My name is Ibrahim Garbawala, popularly known as Comrade IG Wala. It is sad that Nigerians, at this point in time, we have no solutions, not a single solution to our problems. Sincerely speaking, I don't know. These few days, Nigeria has been something else. We all know the situation we're in. No matter how you get frustrated and you think you want to ignore, you can't even ignore. You think you want to just take your eyes or your mind off what is happening in Nigeria, you just can't help it. I think at this point in time, it's high time we tell ourselves nothing but the truth. First and foremost, on daily basis, Nigerians we do manage to see if we can have a little hope. But sincerely, we are totally hopeless. And the state of hopelessness that we're in is something that I think is not just few individuals that will be putting our hopes on. Sincerely speaking, what the country is in, we must all come out, not just be on the streets. We must force those in authority to take the right decision and immediate action. If they cannot do that, we call on National Assembly to compel the president to step down. Else, we are going to compel every single senator. Nigerians, this is a clarion call. No senator in your area should be spared to stay at home. Let them come out and go to National Assembly and do the needful against the president of this country as we speak. Every member of a parliament should leave his house, should leave her house, go straight to National Assembly, take an immediate decision to end this crisis that we're in. We are calling on everybody, not just citizens, poor citizens that the military and the police are deployed to tear gas, to shoot, that are going to take this fight. The senators must go out. National Assembly members, reps members, step out of your house, step out of your comfort zone, go out there. Don't let us go on the streets. You are going to kill, if you cannot kill the bandits, you're going to kill us. This is a clarion call. No any senator, I'm going to do that in Hausa. Jama'a masu sauraron mu halin da Najeriya ke ciki yanzu. Ya wuce a zauna ana kallon wai 'yan Najeriya suna fita zanga-zanga, ana ci musu mutunci, ana ɗaukan sojoji da bindigogi, ana zuba su kan hanya, ana ɗaukan 'yan sanda suna jefa tiyagas. Gashi can inda ya kamata a je da tiyagas da bindigogin nan da motocin nan ba za a je ba. Sai an tare hanya, an kama kowa, an kama mutane, wai sannan a ga rundunar 'yan sanda da rundunar sojoji wai an zubo su cikin gari, wai suna tare bayan Allah da suke nuna takaicin abin da ake musu, wai nan ne ake tura jami'an tsaro. Saboda haka duk wani dan majalisar dattawa, sanata, ya fita daga gidansa, ya fita daga anguwar da yake, al'umma ku shiga a fitar da su, shiga a fitar da su. Enough of this nonsense is enough. 'Yan majalisa ku fita daga gidajenku, ku fita ku koma majalisa, ku je majalisa, ku je ku abin da ya kamata akan shugaban kasar nan. Kada ku bari mu fito kan titi, billahi lazi, sai dai in ba za ku iya kashe bandit ba ku kashe mu. Enough of this nonsense. Kudu da arewa babu
yaran nan su suke kona abubuwan nan gaba daya ɗanin sojan da yake kawo mar kayan ne Dida din ne?
There you have it, a call for the Nigerian president to resign because of banditry, and he's not doing what he's supposed to do as the #1 man in the country. But here comes my question. Now, if traveling and safety is no longer our peace, is no longer in our right as ordinary Nigerians, do you think it's high time for us to call the president to evacuate the seat for some other person that will lead better and guarantee safety as it should be?
Okay, thank you very much. I think the call is actually apt. Apt in the sense that, as we know, the primary function or responsibility of government is to protect life and property.
Correct.
And it is very clear that the government has failed in that direction. Yeah, because lives are no more protected, property are no more protected. Protected. Our safety is not guaranteed as far Nigeria as of today is concerned. People are even calling on a situation where you have to begin to protect yourself, right? So when it comes to that primary responsibility of government of protecting life and property, the government of Nigeria has failed woefully, right? So if anybody comes to call on the resignation of the government, for me, I think is apt and is a correct, something that should be supported, because in the absence of security or in the face of insecurity, there is no way the Nigeria economy can blossom or Nigeria economy can grow. And that is exactly what the government has the responsibility of providing enabling environment for economic activities. And this is a critical element or factor when we talk about providing enabling environment. Security cannot be relegated to the background. So security is paramount.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Francis, I would love to ask, in as much as security is not the only issue we should look at before calling out Mr. President to resign, and his policies, which he put out that you explained, they're all beautiful, but yet it's not transparent for an ordinary Nigerian to see or even benefit from. I also support that he's doing the right thing. You know, our economy is boosting, but ordinary Nigerians are not feeling it. Would you say the president should resign because of security?
Okay, so I'm going to play both the devil's advocate and the angel.
Go ahead.
For
Start with the
Nigerians
devil
this morning. Now, understanding the insecurity situation in Nigeria, we'll have to head back to the Jonathan's administration.
Go ahead.
From the Jonathan's administration into the Muhammadu Buhari's administration, and then coming back to the Tinubu's administration. Jonathan was from the south. Muhammadu Buhari was from the north, and now Tinubu is also from the south. When did we all see the emergence of, kidnapping, banditry, suicide bombing, and it progressed and advanced and transmogrified into what it is today? It started with the Jonathan's era. Who were the ones behind it? At the time, key government officials in the northern states in this country were in support of, Boko Haram. They were in support of terrorism. They were in support of the insecurity that was happening. And what was their reason? Jonathan, from a minority tribe in the south, was the one in position of power. And so they did everything to destabilize the government of Jonathan and to kick him out of the power. Fortunately enough for them, they succeeded. Their brother took over, but unfortunately for them, they were not able to mop up the guns, mop up the criminal element that had released into the streets to cause mayhem in order to destabilize the Jonathan's administration. During the Muhammadu Buhari's administration, we had a far worse insecurity situation in Nigeria than the Jonathan administration. We never saw senators from the north or key political stakeholders, strong leaders from the north coming out to say, look, Muhammadu Buhari must resign as the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria because we have insecurity. Now, take note, I'm not justifying the insecurity that we have in Nigeria. Fast forward to the Tinubu's administration. From day one, we began to hear calls for resignation, calls for resignation, calls for resignation. Truth be told, from the Tinubu's, Muhammadu Buhari's administration to the Tinubu's administration, practically the 16 years or the how many years now? 8 years, 12 years administration of the APC in Nigeria has been worse than the PDP's. So, while the call is sincere, while we as Nigerians have the right to tell President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Oga, you have not been able to deliver on your mandate, from security to the economy to the different policies that should have bettered the lives of Nigerians. I mean, it was just yesterday, the first lady is still trending for telling Nigerians, you go and start a business and kuli and akara business.
And corn.
Whereas Sheyi Tinubu, for instance, is walking around this country like he's the president himself. Look at his convoy.
City boys.
Before now, who was Sheyi Tinubu? What was his business? What are his addresses before now?
His father is the president.
So, because his father is the president, automatically he has become the state president, or he has become some elected government officials. In the first few weeks of Tinubu's administration, Sheyi Tinubu was seen entering a gathering of government officials that he was not entitled by the laws and legislation of this land to enter. So, yes, Nigerians have the right to say, President, you are not performing. But insecurity is not just a President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration problem. Insecurity is first and foremost an Islamic agenda. And the brothers up north and every Nigerian needs to speak the truth and the way it is. Because if we keep, sugarcoating, if we keep painting it like it is not what it is, we're still going to keep on lying. Take, for instance, Sheikh Gumi is a non-Islamic scholar in this country. You would not tell me that all the northern governors are not aware of Sheikh Gumi's meddling with terrorists in the forest.
Yet he hasn't been apprehended.
And yet, no single governor up north has come out to say, look, this man is not speaking on behalf of us. And they are all Muslims. This man is a criminal. If he is meddling, if he is the one conniving with terrorists, he should be prosecuted under Nigerian law. But have we seen any governor from up north coming up to speak against that? So it clearly shows that there is a high-level conspiracy within the northern part of the country, which I emphasize again, does not justify the fact that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the number one citizen of the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, lacks the political willpower to order the Nigerian armed forces to rid this country of all the criminal elements.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. M.I. I would love to ask a question. You saw the video of the boy that was apprehended over the whole firearms stuff he was carrying around. I would love to ask this question. Can any government claim success when citizens are paying ransom instead of tax for security to better their life?
That's failure number one. My basis will be on our laws and our constitution. Section 14 sub 2b says the primary responsibility of every president, every governor, every lawmaker in Nigeria shall be the protection and welfare, the security and welfare of the citizens. Does every life matter? Section 33 talks about life and dignity. Every citizen of this country deserves. It's their fundamental right. It's not that you give them. They naturally own it. It's their right to have life and dignity. According to Amnesty International, over 10,000 persons have been killed under this regime. That is like a war situation. Can Mr. President and the current regime of governors and lawmakers account for every life that has been killed by terrorists and criminals in this country?
And he's the
They do account for it by holding a minute silence.
Okay,
at the
He is
national
the
assembly.
and by reassuring,
commander-in-chief.
we reassure you
Yeah.
We reassure you. The
always
government is standing with
reassurance.
you. The government is standing by you.
I
The
hear
government
you.
will not leave you alone. And yet every other
But
second,
the government will not die with you.
what do we find? From Mr. President to all the governors and all these lawmakers that swore that oath, they ascribed enough security to themselves. And then they leave you and I that voted them, that employed them to fend for your own security. So what those security is now affordable. Those who can purchase it procure security. And yet you and I pay taxes to the states. Who is on whose desk does that responsibility fall? On Mr. President. In systems where people are ruled by values, principles, and law, they would have moved for the impeachment of Mr. President.
Long time ago.
On the grounds that it's look at what has happened in UK. There's no quarrel. I don't hate you.
He resigned honorably.
Like Wachaba will always say, you are employed to solve a problem. You are the commander-in-chief. One of the most powerful presidents in this world is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu of Nigeria. We are blessed with a manpower of over 200 million people. The youths are more in population, so you can have recruitable armed forces in terms of personnel. In terms of resources, Nigeria is blessed more than Israel to buy ammunition and equipment to equip our security. I've often said here, so let me re-emphasize it again. There are 3 pillars to statism. And until politicians understand this, they will keep failing and failing. Well, unfortunately, they are failing us because they will always work out their ways.
Emma, it's not the lack of understanding. They do understand.
They do understand.
If
Okay,
you have
but
a conversation with
understand
politicians, they know exactly what should be done. But they
exactly
just
like
lack the
the position we
willpower
had
to
that
do
day. They understand. I agree with you. And I think it's the failure of the citizens. I know it's the failure of the citizens to hold them accountable. There's the security pillar, there's the political pillar, there's the economic pillar. These 3 must work together. In the Constitution, it is said that, or some analysts say, the oath for security and welfare is even more important than the growth of GDP. However, your security pillar cannot be strong without proper funding.
Fact.
Therefore, you must know how to make money with the resources you have. The question and the allegation is, how much are we making from our God-given resources and how much are we accounting? And that's where the allegation of fraud, fraud and corruption
Comes in.
that is dripping away and sipping away our money. So until leadership knows this, will not get it right. So the call for impeachment is up. And our politicians to stop playing politics with the lives of people. It was an American scholar that says, he who makes peaceful change inevitable makes forceful change he who makes peaceful change impossible, rather, makes forceful change inevitable. By the time you push the people to an unbearable point, they will revolt naturally. It's a natural, everybody has elasticity. Everybody, from Mr. President down, we all have what is called elasticity. There is only so much we can take. So when you look at something that is rubbing mud on your face, it's slapping you every day. The Bible says if they slap you, you are turned here for how many times? And every day you're being slapped by insecurity challenges. Where smaller countries are doing better, are doing well, they're even better, not well. Like we compare them to small Israel. With due respect to Israel, 10 million people, they are a force. Right now, America is trying to enter a peace deal with Iran, and Iran is giving Israel conditions to say stop firing, killing people, our loyalists in Lebanon. Israel say you can't tell us, you can't give us conditions. They have shot again. They are after the Hezbollah in Lebanon. They say retreat. They say no, they're not moving. So they are taking the fight to the den of the religious extremists, the so-called terrorists, the so-called fanatics that is giving Nigeria, that is staying inside Nigeria. And from that phone call, that news I read, you're staying in Nigeria. You're giving your so if you can speak to an official, for goodness sakes, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, if anybody can talk to a criminal inside Nigeria, why can't you use the available high tech of today? Why can't you partner with Israel and America to locate where they are? Ask Israel how they do it and get these people, fish them out.
A strong question, Mr. President. All right, let's move over to Mr. Menoja this morning. As an economist, I would love to ask you this question. Do you think Nigerians are in a hurry to judge the president, given the fact that he has stayed for just 3 years? What would you say?
Okay. Nigerians are not in a rush to judge Nigeria because
Very patient.
they are not in a rush to begin to assess the performance of this current government.
Okay.
Yeah, because when you are being given a leadership role or position, it is a social contract. It's a social contract, and what that means is that there are expectations that the people expect to begin to see that yes, the government